How's it going, everybody? My name's Pete, also known as MC Intimidator in the music industry. I've already covered that in my last series of videos, but this one is being made for the primary purpose of the title of my petition that's out there, so that it can be more on today's date with what's currently going on in the world with human trafficking, pedophilia, narcissism, corruption. What else am I missing? Neglect, abuse, abandonment, the Black Lives Matter movement. While I don't agree with the black word in front of lives matter because it's an automatic implication the only lives that matter are black, I 100% wholeheartedly support the movement. I just think it should have been lives matter or something to that extent. I mean, it just should have been named a little bit different. That's my experience to it because I'm very familiar with the English language, being a wordsmith, especially on a piece of paper, and it's not that hard to look up those three words and define them properly. But again, I'm not, no discredit to any black people, African Americans, however you want to word it. I don't see color like that. Your life is just as important as anybody else's. I'm sick and tired of y'all's racial injustice too. It's bullshit and it needs to quit. There will be an explicit, logo that goes along with this, primarily just because of that one word, just to add some tone and inflection. But it's tiring. We're all tired of living the corruption. It's unjust for so many Americans, so many people across the globe, not just on our continent, that are tired of having to live and deal with corruption because people are chasing power and money. Like Florida is a landlord state. We're going through it right now again with our second landlord in the last 5 years total, Square Venture Group LLC and Palm Leaf Property Management. I'm not sure where the companies are based out of. I know one definitely is here in Lakeland, where I'm currently living. The other one was based out of Tampa, at least one of their satellite offices was. And I'm going to post a bunch of pictures of fire hazards and black mold and roof not being completed when Hurricane Irma came through. I mean, we watched our roof leak the entire time the hurricane was here, yet we were evicted from that property because we decided to withhold rent and we didn't trust Polk County not to keep the money. I've seen too many court hearings here go awry because of what they choose to believe based off of the corrupt people they're getting their information from. $1 million families. I don't need to say y'all's names. Hi, you know exactly who you are, and I'm not afraid. You want to come after me for expressing my First Amendment right to free speech and protecting my family's lives, which is what the Constitution is supposed to do, and will. And what you all are supposed to do on a local level. Meanwhile, my child has a permanent lasting injury that may stop him from having kids. I already covered that in the last video. That's something I think about day for day. And to the person who did it, to the guardian who did it, you're running around talking smack behind people's backs. You know where I live. You come see me. I got a yard. We can go out there and play in it. You're more than welcome to. I welcome you to. You don't do this to kids. You don't abuse them. You don't abandon them. You don't neglect them. You don't leave them home until 7 o'clock at night while you're out working when there's a perfectly capable father here myself who has a college education, actually a college graduate with honors, who would be more than happy to tutor his children and help them along. But they'd rather leave them home alone simply because they know that I don't want them to. I listen to y'all's evidence CDs. I've heard them. I've witnessed them, and I'm not going to repeat a word that was on them because my videos and my evidence that I've been documenting for the last 10 years that came out on my video before y'all even conducted your investigation already cover everything that was said on there. And it's amazing how y'all's reports are all over the place. Nobody can get their story straight. All of y'all's facts have been altered, but we've been telling the same story from day one. And it's easy to tell the truth. And when you're defending the truth, the story's not going to change. Only yours did. And y'all know exactly who I'm referring to, Polk County Sheriff's Office. Do I think Grady Judd and the entire Sheriff's Office is corrupt? No, I don't. I actually think Grady Judd is probably a genuine and decent man because he's done a lot here for human trafficking and pedophilia. I'm proud to say and watch some of the news media that he has taken down and organizations that he stopped, but I don't think that he realizes that there are people within his organization that are absolutely corrupt, that are doing stuff behind his back to allow children to be abused. I'm not going to say any names because when a federal investigation is launched, they're going to find out on their own. That's what my petition is about. Again, as an artist in the music industry, MC Intimidator, up and coming, if you feel like looking me up, go ahead and do so. If you don't, really doesn't matter to me either way, because God gave me my gift and it's going to serve its purpose. And if I have to make money for it to serve the purpose, so be it. But I think the world should have things like open trade markets for people to trade their skills for food or services, whatever the case may be. The almighty dollar has already proven it ain't as mighty as everybody thinks it is. It's a necessity at this point in life, but I think that there's other ways that we can find ways to survive without it. That's just my opinion and experience from trading all of my life. Electronics, cars, maintenance on vehicles. Hi, code enforcement, y'all trying to tell me that I can't do major auto repair in my yard. Well, if I'm not certified to do it, it's always maintenance, isn't it? Nice try, though. Y'all want to try and take my cars again, you're more than welcome to do so in the court of law. But as long as I have never been physically trained to repair a car and I'm not ASC certified to do it, I can replace a transmission. It's still maintenance. That being said, let's keep moving forward and get back to the topic. I didn't cover these things in my last video. Human trafficking, pedophilia, abuse, abandonment, neglect. It's all got to quit, but it all comes back to corruption. I plan on using my gift to either A, expose it while I'm out there doing my thing in music, trying to bring people together instead of rip them apart because we want money or because we want power. I could care less about the fortune and the fame, but I want to save little Sally Joe who's out there starving on the street because she was thrown out there with her mom because the court systems were too cold in an eviction process. I'm using that as an example because we're in the process of being evicted again when I've got every single rental receipt. I could provide pictures of them, but I don't need to. I got a stack that thick that I can take to the court of law from 2017 that I've been paying to date, and we're being thrown out because we've been living in a fire hazard. Let me show y'all the electrical receptacle. This electrical receptacle was pulled by the electrician that was hired by the company. This side looks okay, right? You don't see any burn or scorch marks or anything. Bam! Let's take a look at the other side. Look at that. Look at all that melting from the ground wire, sparking and arcing. I can't tell you how many times we would hit this little reset button or the test button to try and make this thing work, not knowing what condition it was behind the walls, because when you're renting, you can't open it up and look, regardless of whether or not you know how to do it. You're not supposed to. Anyway, I let them finally come out after 3 years of complaining about the electrical issues we had with the house. And we spoke to it on the phone. I've got the messages, or I spoke to them on the phone. I got the messages to prove it. But that's another part of the corruption. We were forced to live in that in 3 years, and now we're being thrown out because we're making threats against this company. I've got every single text message, Square Venture Group, LLC. I'd like for y'all to prove in the court of law where I'm making threats. That's a threat right there. I asked y'all to come and fix that fire hazard. You can clearly see how the plug was melted. This house could have gone up at any point. Every time I was hitting that reset button and you hear it go geek, 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 and you see sparks flying out of the plug, it's a clear indicator that there's a problem. But we're the problem. Y'all want to take our deposits and run and throw us out on the streets for what? So you can spread coronavirus and cause more problems for your families? So you can cause more disarray and arrest? Oh, no, wait. So you can get that almighty dollar. You ain't going to get it against us. We're coming for you, because everybody else that's across this country, especially here in the state of Florida, where it's a pro-landlord state, that's got to go away. It has to change, because the courts are allowing these landlords to get away with stuff like this while we, the people, are forced to live in those conditions. It's ridiculous. I want my petition to make change for all those people. I want my music to make change for all those people. And I don't think that I need the money to do it. But if I make money along the way, so be it. I'm going to make sure that it benefits those who need it. I plan on starting something called the UAF, also known as the United Artist Foundation, where artists around the world, whether it be painting, whether it be music, whether you're an automotive technician that's ASE certified to repair cars, that's still an art, man. And if we can put all of our heads together, put all of our financial resources together, we can end famine. And I was about to say starvation, but that comes from famine. Actually, I think the two words coincide with one another now that I think about it. But we can stop stuff like that. Why do we have to keep fighting the little people so what the elite can become what? I mean, do you become any more than elite? You can't become immortal, as of yet. I mean, I'm sure science is probably already trying to work on something along those lines, but again, why do we have to keep living corruption? This is where it's got to end. It has to end now, or the coronavirus is just the beginning of what's yet to come for all of our future generations. This isn't our planet. We just live here. You don't think that this planet doesn't have enough force out there to end all you corrupted people? That's exactly why you're corrupt. And if you think the almighty dollar is going to save you from that, then you better continue praying to it, because I promise you're going to die. And it won't be from me. It'll be from some type of natural disaster, from Mother Nature and God saying, you can't play me. You are not me. For everybody out there, every man, every woman, every child, the 800,000 that are still missing in what's supposed to be the greatest country in the world. I don't think it is. Because of that statement right there, the greatest country in the world. We're not the greatest. There's no such thing as the greatest. Or some people even use the term GOAT, greatest of all time. Time is eternal, and we don't live forever. So how are you the greatest? That's the difference between people like me and the corrupt that are out there. I accept life for what it is. Right is right, wrong is wrong. If you don't like it, then you write the words to your own song, and then people can expose you for exactly what you are. Corrupt. A human trafficker. A pedophile. Anything that you want to add to this, please sign my petition for the sake of your future generations and everybody else across this planet. It has got to end. God bless you all. It's going on like 3 o'clock in the morning on September 1st, 2020. I commend you. I implore you to step forward. We need more of you. We need the honor. We need the courage. We need the integrity. We need to band together and become one, or we're always going to stand divided and destroy this planet. I don't want that to happen. That's one of my missions as an artist. So please, everybody that was attacking me last time thinking that I'm just trying to be selfish and worry about my family, I'm absolutely concerned about yours. Whatever your movement needs to be, it's time to get up and start moving. I implore you all, like I said just a moment ago. Good morning, good night, good evening, depending on what side of the planet you're on. I'm sorry that I don't speak any other foreign languages to try and translate this, but you are important. Don't let anyone make you think that you're different. This is the war against corruption, and I implore everybody to join me. We need an army. It's time to end. It's time to stand up and do what's right. Today is August 31st, 2020. It's approximately 8:36 in the morning. I'm not going to look back at the camera. I've got the windows down. Some people say masks are stupid. Well, I think the people that don't wear them are morons. COVID-19 is a serious thing. I don't care if the numbers are fudged or not. People have died, and I believe it's enough of a reason to be wearing this. But regardless, my daughter has another disturbing experience to add to the laundry list of corruption, abandonment, abuse, neglect, and now sexual misconduct to add to the list. Borderline, what's the word I'm looking for? It could have been rape. It could have gone to rape. My daughter's 12 years old. Right? No. I'm sorry, she's 11 now. She's going to be turning 12 next year. She just had her birthday. Yeah, I've got 4 kids. It's easy to get a little bit mixed up with that. But regardless, she's had some it's just disturbing. And instead of me trying to say it, she's going to say it. My son, Ario Adkins, is 13. He's shooting the video. And he's not heard exactly the horror story, but he's been left home alone with these people time and time again. I'm actually on my way to drop them off, and they may be home alone again today to go do virtual schooling. We'll find out, and I'm going to shoot another video for that too. But Elizabeth, I'm going to keep driving. I've got my eyes on the road. I need you to turn, talk to the camera, and you tell the camera exactly what happened, how it made you feel. It's really that simple. Ariel, make sure she's on camera.
My 16-year-old brother. My brother was, he gave me 3 options and he went on a website. He was on a website and he gave me 3 options. He said that I can either do it with him, leave the room, or watch him. He said...
Now hold on, I'm going to ask, I have to ask this question. You say website. Do you know what kind of website?
Yes, but I prefer not to say. It starts with a
Let
P.
me ask you, okay, it starts with a P. Everybody knows most likely what that is. It's likely pornography. Was it of the sexual nature, Elizabeth?
Yes.
There you go, keep going.
He told me that staying in there and doing it with him was probably the most non-awkward option. I said no, I'll just go out and leave the room. And then another day, the first day he was back, he was sleeping in my room. In the middle of the night, he said, I like you. I pretended not to hear it and said go to bed. And then when I woke up...
Okay, wait a minute. Where was he when you said this?
He was on the floor and I was in bed.
He was on the floor and you were on the bed.
Yes.
Okay.
And then I woke up with him exactly against me in the same exact position as
Look
I
at the camera.
was.
Look at the camera.
And with his shirt off.
You're not doing anything wrong this morning. So he was laying up against you with his shirt off.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
And he wasn't like that when he went to bed.
And this is your brother, mind you.
Yes, he is
Being
6.
exposed to sexually explicit nature by her brother. That is incest if something happens. Keep going.
It made me feel very uncomfortable and disgusted in my brother because I thought I could trust him. But he had also stole $20 from me and gave it to Madison in gift cards and gave them to Madison, which is my sister, and she's 18.
I'm sorry that he stole from you, Elizabeth. That's wrong, but he could have stolen a lot worse. But the fact of the matter is, him still doing something disgusting like that at the sexually explicit nature age that he is, going on 17 now, or he may be 17.
Yes, he's 17.
He's 17. Now. Where was your mom and the adults when all this was happening?
My mom was in bed when the night part, but I never...
The night part? Now, when you say the night part, what's the night part?
Like, when I woke up, she was at work. She was at work when I woke up like that.
Where was your brother? This brother?
Ario, he was in his room.
And there were no adults in the house?
Not that I can remember, except for Bobo. He wasn't even...
He's not an adult. So your mom was already off to work, and there was no one of the numerous boyfriends your mom's been with. Not that I care. You gotta have a new life, but she's working on boyfriend number 8. I've been with the same woman for 8 years since I left her 10 years ago.
It made me feel very uncomfortable, disgusted, and not trustworthy of him, and I want to know why.
I agree. I agree. But did you tell your mother?
No, because I wanted to forget about it.
Look at the camera. You did not tell your mother.
No, I wanted to forget about it.
Why did you want to forget about it?
Because it's something I thought that would never happen to me.
It's something you thought would never happen to you. And is that the only reason you feel like you couldn't tell your mother? Or did you feel like you couldn't tell your mother? I mean, I guess I'm ultimately asking. You say you didn't tell her, but why didn't you? Or why? Why?
If I told her, then I feel like she would just be okay with it, like she was when Madison...
When Madison what? What did Madison do?
She had the dirty in her bed.
Had the dirty in your bed. What is the dirty? Go ahead and say it on the camera. It's okay, Elizabeth. You are not wrong for what you are sharing this morning. These people out here in corrupt Polk County try to make you feel uncomfortable for standing up to the injustice of what they're doing to children across this county and across the state and country for that matter. They're not doing it here. Maybe they are. I don't know. But I know there's more families that this are happening to. So you couldn't tell your mom because...
If I told her, she would have been okay with it, I feel like.
Like with Madison. Yes. And what was Madison doing?
She was having sex.
In where?
My bed.
Oh my God. And how old was she?
She, at the time, I believe, was 17.
People are going to explore that, but it's wrong to be doing it in your younger sister's bed. August 31st, it's now 8:43, 2020. Ario, you are free to stop the recording. Children are being dropped off with a strange individual. I have no idea who he is. Especially after the sexually explicit things going on that we already have disclosed on video. Bye, guys. I love y'all. The courts are not going to win here on a local level. I promise that. How's it going, everybody? It's still September 1st, 2020. This is the next leg, the meat and potatoes of the last video, stuff that I didn't get to cover because I was too tired. You know, it was 3 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, whatever it was. And when you're nonstop studying and looking into information to try and get some assistance to stop your kids from being in human trafficking rings, not in my case, but the abuse, abandonment, and neglect is still all right along the lines of corruption with pedophilia, etc. Everything I'm getting ready to say is public record and information. Judge Radaball here in Polk County was my corrupt judge with my first video, and I'm not going to go back into all that evidence because it's already there. You know, my kids in the second leg of that video, the second video, corruption on some youths of our nation, or corruption on youths of our nation, part 2. This is going to be part 3 with multiple videos and pictures and evidence that touch on more of Florida being the pro-landlord state and covering some of the corruption in court hearings that I've been through since I've been here. So let's move forward. Judge Radaball, the evidence that I had in that video, you knew that I was trying to present it that day. I followed the petitioning attorney's format to get my evidence submitted verbatim, and everything that I put across, not only did it get objected by the attorney on some of them, not all of them, but the judge would overrule my evidence immediately. Your Honor, but I forget what the word is that I used, but I looked it up when I'm asking him to consider the evidence, and he just ultimately told me, and when this came out of his mouth, I'm not going to quote it because this isn't exactly what he said. I'm pulling this out of my memory from 2016, I want to say. Yeah, 2014 DR-4776 is the case number, but I think 2016 is when this hearing finally transpired. And he says something along the lines of, "This is my courtroom, son, and I'm going to rule things my way, whether you like it or not." There was no court reporter that day. I didn't have the $800 for them to come for 4 hours. I mean, I'm on Social Security disability income. I have been for the last 3 years. Do I plan on being on it forever? No, but no jobs out there want to touch me because of my spinal conditions. When they find out that I've had 2 back surgeries and I was paralyzed from the waist down, I'm an immediate liability, and I've even had them state that such in applications that I've put out there, over 100 since 2015, while I'm on disability. You know, I haven't applied in the last couple years, but I have sent some out just to see what would happen, you know, to see if I could find something better than where I'm at. It's one of the reasons I pursue music, because if a bionic spine ever becomes available, if someone ever develops the technology, I might even be a candidate to volunteer to go have the surgery, because I don't ever want to be paralyzed from the waist down again. And I've still got full paralysis from the right side of my waist down. I've lost muscle tone in my calf and my glutes, and forget about that. This isn't a pity party for me, but the children out there that are being trafficked, the children out there that are having to be forced into pedophile rings, Volusia County, there's a Judge Heineman. I've met a couple other individuals. I'm not going to say their names at this point, but their records are also public. The judge in Volusia County, I can't remember the woman's name that I've also met here in Florida. I've met a total of 5 people in about the last week that are all experiencing similar things that we are. And I implore anybody out there to step forward with your horror stories. Let's expose these people for what they are. And let's prove that it's happening across the state, because if I've already found 5, myself included, then we already know that there's more out there. But Judge Radaball, like I said, my videos already clearly show what you did wrong. And to cover up all that evidence, when it was shot on 1080p high definition quality and shot with 4 megapixel or greater cameras, and that's all that's required in the state of Florida by law for it to be considered admissible in the court of law, from the photography perspective. I mean, I learned that in criminal investigations. You even told me that my criminal investigations degree was irrelevant. You didn't see how it mattered in that court hearing. It's completely relevant because I'm trying to present photo documentation in the court of law, you moron. That's my opinion, the name calling aspect, but oh man, it's the truth. Officer Perez of the Lakeland Police Department and the hearings officer Wolf, 2020, we're talking August 8th was when I went to court. Even though their decision letter says August 10th, I'm kind of wondering on a federal level if that technicality alone is enough to get it dismissed, because the hearing happened on August 8th. My fiance is a witness to that, and that's what the paper even says, but their denial says that the court hearing took place on August 10th. But let's get to the facts here of why it should have never been accepted. United States versus Rodriguez, case number 575 U.S. 2015. The Honorable Judge Ginsburg, I believe it was. They even mocked me in court that day because I said Judge Ginsburg was a he. You know, I'm only going off of black and white documentation. I can't tell you how many times I've been mocked in court just because they find something minute like that, a detail that I didn't know, because the average citizen or pro se representation of myself like I was doing, there's nowhere in that paper it says that that judge is a man or a woman, and you're really going to nitpick on that in the court of law. Why? To make yourself feel better, make you think you're smarter than me? It's amazing I haven't had any training and I still have custody of my kids. 46 point whatever percent it is, 44, 156 overnights a year right now, because I have represented myself pro se. So y'all can say whatever you want till you're blue in the face. I've done a good enough job to keep my custody the way that it is. I haven't been arrested in the court of law, even though I've gone to a contempt court hearing because of the coronavirus, where Governor DeSantis issued Executive Order 20-52. I'm getting sidetracked from the Perez stop, but that 20-52 executive order clearly said people to stay home. He extended that in Executive Order 20-114, another 2 or 3 months, which the Polk County courts went ahead and decided that I had to pay my ex-wife some more money, even though I was following Governor DeSantis's order. And they didn't find me in contempt of court that day. So if the judge couldn't find me contempt of court, because my defense was as simple as this: Your Honor, I have 2 orders. I have an outdated order of my divorce decree that tells me I have to take my children back to my ex-wife. I have Executive Order 20-52 right here with Governor DeSantis that states I should stay home because of coronavirus. So which one am I supposed to follow? And it was as simple as that with my defense. And she went on to ultimately say I wasn't in contempt of court, but I was still ordered to pay back money. And I'm already paying over $400 a month in child support right now for my Social Security disability benefits. Does it come directly out of my pocket? No, but it should be coming to this family because we don't abuse our kids. And I'm paying an additional $50 a month on top of that. Whatever. Y'all can get as much money as you want from me because that's all you're after. You can't prove I'm a bad father because I haven't done anything. I have done nothing wrong in this county, especially like slapping my kids upside the head or slamming my children to the tile floor. My son now may never have kids. God bless you, Rubenstein Law, for representing my son through that matter. You all are a godsend, and I pray that you all get him the justice that he deserves. But I warn y'all, the court systems here in Polk County on the local level, they are corrupt. And don't be surprised if they throw that case out or deny it altogether, and then y'all have to take it to the federal level because here I am going on with it. Officer Perez that day testifies under oath, and I don't remember exactly what he said, but he did say that I presented my insurance that day, and he was issuing me a speeding ticket. But he didn't touch on the fact that he issued me a warning first for speeding and then was going to issue me a ticket for not having my insurance. My kids were there to witness the whole thing. They weren't, they couldn't come to court to testify because the courts won't allow it because of their ages, 13 and 11. And I can't afford a guardian ad litem right now to come speak on their behalf. So I had my fiance, the next best thing, who is not a criminal, hasn't had a ticket in years until she moved out here to Polk County and got one of them red light tickets where she did a rolling stop. She almost came to a complete stop, but then just kept rolling on through the traffic light and made her turn. So she paid her ticket and moved on with her life. But other than that, she's been squeaky clean, and she's genuinely a kind-hearted woman who cares about children, and she can't stand none of this. She's been a witness for the last 8 years to all of this. I mean, I don't need to go back into the abuse, but that day in the courtroom, After Officer Perez makes his statement, my opening question in my argument to cross-examine him was, so, Officer Perez, are you going to tell me under oath, or are you going to tell me that you didn't issue me a warning first that day for speeding, and then a citation for insurance, and then you went back to your motorcycle and switched them? No, sir, I did not. Well, I'm getting ready to prove that you're a liar, which my witness wasn't allowed to testify that day because the judge dismissed her off the stand before I had the opportunity to cross-examine her, just on the sole premise she was going to attest to what my children told her. And the judge wouldn't allow that day, or the hearings officer, Wolf, wouldn't allow it because I don't even remember what she said. I don't have to allow it, or we're not going to allow the past to dictate the future. And maybe it wasn't dictate, but we're not going to allow the past to determine the future. Yet judges all over the country in the federal level absolutely determine what happens here on the local level. So with that being said, I still went into the presentation of my, United States versus Rodriguez, United States versus Rodriguez 575 U.S. 2015, where Mr. Rodriguez was pulled over for a traffic stop. And during the traffic stop, the officer decided to go ahead and do a search and seizure of the vehicle after the stop was completed. He had already issued him his warnings and citations, gave him back his documentation or identification, and then asked if he could search the car. And Rodriguez denied, and he went ahead and did it anyway. But after Judge Ginsburg got a hold of it, and he went on to quote in that one a couple of other cases, Cabellis, and hold on, let me get the documents real quick. Cabellis, Illinois versus Cabellis, United States versus Sharp, 491, 500, 1983. Let me read some of those where Justice Ginsburg says, we hold that a police stop exceeding the time needed to handle the matter for which the stop was made violates the Constitution's shield against unreasonable seizures. In this case, therefore, it becomes unlawful if it is prolonged beyond the time reasonably required to complete the mission of issuing a ticket for the violation. In United States versus Sharp, the scope of the detention must be carefully tailored to its underlying justification, because addressing the infraction is the purpose of the stop. It may last no longer than is necessary to effectuate that purpose. In the Cabellis case, we cautioned that a traffic stop can become unlawful if it is prolonged beyond the time reasonably required to complete the mission of issuing a warning ticket, which a verbal warning is the same thing as a written warning ticket, which is what that officer issued me that morning. And my fiance could attest to that because the children told her the same story, but the judge wouldn't allow it. Whereas I brought up my divorce case. Well, Your Honor, I'm going to present case number 2014-DR-4776, where my children were allowed to have their testimonies heard by my ex-wife. I don't think I said who is a known criminal, but she is. And she was allowed to testify on my children's behalf, and they took that as credible evidence. So here I am today in hopes that that will be allowed here. And that was when she said something along the lines, we're not going to allow the past to dictate the future, or we're not going to let it control the future from the past, or however it was she worded it. And in that case, it clearly states on the federal level, you as an officer, Perez, cannot go beyond the call of duty or beyond the reasonable time to have the traffic stop done. You handed me back my identification. You already issued me the verbal warning. And when you told me that you're going to change the two, I was like, no, this traffic stop is over. That was when I requested his superior to come to the scene, which he did, which now I'm being held prolonged kind of per my request, but because he was back there writing the citations anyway after he switched them. You know, the warning became a citation and the citation became a warning. You can't do that. It's against the law on a federal level, but they did it anyway because the outcome of the paper, which I'm going to post on there so that you'll be able to read for yourself, because again, it's public record, it's traffic, is what it is. They can't arrest me for sharing none of this. Moving on to, we covered Judge Radaball. I covered the Officer Perez stop. I'm going to go back into the landlord-tenant laws of Florida being a pro-landlord state. I'm going to show some pictures of rats. I mean, I must have caught 5 or 9 of them with rat traps. There's, if you ever need to catch rats, I highly recommend the Alpo, I think it's, or Purina Pro plan. It comes with the chunks of lamb and chunks of chicken if you choose to. The lamb, they absolutely love. Rub that in a little bit of peanut butter. Bam, you'll catch one after another. Bam, you'll catch one after another. And I'm going to show the pictures of the rats that these landlords just weren't willing to take care of. It was our responsibility, but it was a clear indicator they were coming out from outside because you could see the holes up under the cabinets, which I'm going to show pictures of. The holes behind the stove, which I had to make a jerry rig to stop them from coming in because they wouldn't even send out pest control. You could hear WRE, World Rat Entertainment, taking place up in my attic. I mean, just ridiculous, the noises that we're having to listen to. But, I mean, you're going to see them. There's going to be some dead rats. It is what it is. There's going to be another picture of where I'm going to use forensic lighting experience to show I do know what I'm talking about. They taught us in criminal investigations when I was going to college for it that lighting can play a key role in determining blood spatter, or if a bomb was used, or if any type of gases exploded on a material or surface, because they'll light up a different color in infrared, in ultraviolet. And there's one other light spectrum I'm not remembering where it'll also show it. Anyway, those two alone, and in my case it's infrared. I have a nice car cover over my collectible SHO. I have two of them. I have a 98 and a 99. Both of them have V8s. They're the only Tauruses to ever have them. This car was dent-free before their electrician, which it wasn't his fault, and I clearly told the electrician that light's brittle. It's old. It's not your fault. I'm not going to hold you accountable for it. Thank God you didn't fall and get hurt, because the sound of that light, I mean, the light fixture's this big, and it's got one of them big giant halogen bulbs that has the gases built inside. Looks like the older style filament light bulbs that we still use today, but now they're using LED in that same setup where it looks like a filament bulb. But the bulb's that long, it's that big around, and you can see this giant black ring on the car cover where the rest of it is the solid light gray color that it's supposed to be, and that wasn't there before. And you can clearly see the ring where the light fell down the roof because it was located right where the awning is that you'll see in the picture, and it fell off. As soon as he touched it to adjust it, hit my car, boom, and it exploded, and the gases left a ring mark on the car cover. And that is another thing that stemmed the landlords to go ahead and sue us, or try to evict us, because I've made threats, because I've asked for compensation for the vandals that have destroyed my lawnmower, which I had to invest $75 into getting it rebuilt from running over car starter solenoids, vinyl being thrown in the yard, bottles, knives, needles, bricks, you name it, just about everything. I had full bottles of lotion that were chucked way back in the back of the yard up close to the tree, almost like they were stuffed there on purpose, because this property was two whole properties before they started construction. They're building a brand new house right next door to us, but they can't fix things like $59.99 receptacles or take $500 off of my rent because of the damage that they did to my car. Not the electrician, but their old light that needed to be replaced or adjusted because it was sitting right up against the house, and you could see what were starting to become scorch marks on the wood. And that's another fire hazard. You know, if it heats up enough, it'll go in flames. You know, it might take a few years like it had been to get that way, but it'll definitely happen. And we're being thrown out for what? Because I'm protecting my family? I've got 4 children in this home, one of which is here 100% of the time, like the other 3 should be, because they're all living the corruption. And it's got to quit, you know. All this evidence is going to come forward. Mrs. Nave, who's a principal of Purcell Elementary, also the assistant principal. Now that I think about that one, I'll touch on that one in a minute. But Mrs. Nave came to court and testified that day where I used Executive Order 20-52 because my ex-wife was suing me because I was keeping the kids here under that order. And Mrs. Nave from that school had the audacity to come to that court hearing and testify, where she was excused as a witness. And again, this is public record. Anybody can look it up. She was excused as a witness the moment I had the opportunity to cross-examine her, because when she testified on behalf of my ex-wife, she says that the only thing that my daughter ever came to her and the guidance counselors about, which is in my videos, you'll see my daughter saying that's the guidance counselor I talked to, and that was out in front of Purcell Elementary. She says the only thing that Elizabeth ever told her was that she was concerned about the multiple gentlemen coming in and out of her house, or maybe she just said gentlemen. She didn't say gentleman or single man. She said gentlemen, plural, as in more than one, because it has been. My daughter's watched my ex-wife kiss on men while they're being forced to live and think that this other individual that is coming in and out of the house is supposed to be their new father figure or role model, whatever. But when you testify that in the court of law, and then I had the opportunity to cross-examine her without hesitation, I said, so Mrs. Nave, are you going to tell me that it's not true, that my daughter didn't tell you that she was picked up off her feet and slammed to the tile floor, or slapped in the head by some of Mom's paramours? She said, oh, well, I do recall her saying something like that, or however she worded it. And without missing a beat, the judge dismissed her as a witness because she knew that I destroyed her credibility. So it also should have destroyed the credibility of the petitioning attorney and the petitioner, but it didn't, and I don't know how to word everything properly as a pro se representative because I spent so much time studying just how to get there. I didn't know fully everything that needed to be done once I was there, but examining a witness, I'm usually pretty good with something like that, hence the fact that she got kicked off the stand. And anybody sending their children to Purcell Elementary, I highly recommend it because that school's corrupt. The assistant principal accused my daughter of throwing tacos, which is in the video. I asked for the videotape, and I wasn't allowed to see it. There's FERPA laws that clearly state that's educational material, and I'm entitled to that information. Why didn't I get it? Again, stay away from Purcell Elementary as far as you possibly can because they're a part of this corrupted network. I think that pretty much covers it. Everything that I wanted to cover
on what is today's date? The 24th of March, 2020, during this coronavirus epidemic. My son was involved in an attack, as my videos clearly show, and we know who all was behind it. And they know who all's behind it, law enforcement and non-law enforcement. But there was a complaint affidavit that was filed on approximately the 10th of March down to the teen department, as I was instructed today on the 24th. I've been calling since the 10th to the juvenile department, because they were the ones I was led to believe that got the complaint affidavit in the first place. But it was, in fact, as I aforementioned, not the teen department that ends up with this complaint affidavit 2 weeks later, after I've been digging with one department. So, I take that with a grain of salt. It's corruption, but you take it any way that you have to. And now the case against my son's testicles that were violated almost 10 times, or around 10 times according to him and his audio testimonies, that nobody's collected and none of the evidence is being presented to me. And isn't it just so funny how I would think a cop would know whether or not it's going to, a sheriff deputy from Polk County would know whether or not an affidavit is going to the teen section or the juvenile section based off of their age and what they tell the victim's father. And that the address that they sent all the information to was, of course, the mother who allowed this to happen to my son for as long as it did, who my son may never have children, according to Dr. Rakesh Patel of Lakeland Regional Health, Lakeland Regional Medical Health, whatever it is now, that he may never have kids. So anybody would be just as alert as I am and paying attention every single nook and cranny from every single person. But corruption is not going to transpire with my children, especially sneaky tactics to get this passed through, because this was already sent to the diversion program. Now I'm remembering. This was sent to the diversion program. I got lost on my fact earlier. For the boy who did it to get away with it, which he's not the one who's the sole party involved, or the one who created all this, the one who orchestrated it. Everybody remembers the Karate Kid with Mr. Miyagi and Daniel's son, where they get to the tournament And the leader of the Cobra Kai dojo says, "Sweep the leg." And the boy looks at him. "Sweep the leg. Do you have a problem with that?" I don't remember whatever his name was. But that's exactly what's happening here. Only difference is they didn't sweep the leg. For a year they hid what was done.
August 31st, 2020. This is one of the many construction crews that will be out here working. And it's amazing to me that Square Venture Group, this company has nothing to do with it. They're just hired for them. But I'm just shooting this for public record, and I have the right to do so to protect my First Amendment right to free speech. But Square Venture Group LLC can hire companies to come out and install a brand new duplex or brand new house. But they can't fix simple things like fire hazards that we've been living in for 3 years. And according to the Florida statutes, you cannot move anybody into a rental and or home that you're purchasing if there are fire hazards in the home. And I've got the electrical receptacle on video, as well as the fan that nearly caught on fire the first time I ever turned it on when we moved in. But that being said, just wanted to document and show they've got enough money to install a brand new duplex or brand new home, but they can't replace a $59.99 receptacle that could have burnt our entire house down.
September 23rd, 2017.
Amazing
One of the
how
many
that
issues with this house. We were just informed by the office that they're basically not going to do anything else in this house. Just want to make sure and point out this bowl is completely full and leaking out on the floor and all over. Turn it this way. No.
Yeah, but I'm getting right underneath the sink too.
September 23rd, 2017. This is a bowl full of water. Come over here under the sink, Anna. Right there. Just aim for the sink. All this is soaking wet. There's water here. It's all over the floor right here. It's all back up here under the toilet. It's one of the many issues that the house has been having that they're refusing to fix, and unless we catch up the rent. There's mold all back behind this wall because the bathtub here at the drain that you see down there in the picture, the white stopper on, that's good, pull the camera back out, is leaking back out from this corner. Right when the water starts draining out, it starts leaking out from here, all in front of the toilet. Look at the water damage back here in the corner. As you can see, all the cracked air. All this is mold and mildew. Go over here, on that side of the toilet back in the corner. So you know the wall on the other side where the kid's bedroom is nothing but mold, and we stopped using this bathtub months ago. So anyway, September 23rd, 2017, Anna, back up to the water, completely full bowl. Another one of the many issues.
What is happening right now? What is happening with the people that trespassed on his property, officer? They trespassed on his. What is happening? Oh, so nothing's happening. All right, cool. Thanks for the public record. Have a great day. Typical Lakeland Police Department will do absolutely nothing when your civil rights are violated. Nothing. People can trespass on your property on a regular basis, and they care absolutely nothing about it. Unit number 60111. Along with the other one, which I've got photographs of. All right, it's cool. Good to know.
Daddy's always here to come and wipe away your tears, hoping that I hold the key to shield you from your fears. Nothing in this life is always as it appears, and even when you're gone, your daddy is always near. I know I made a point to mention a couple times, Daddy's little soul just locked inside his rhymes. Kinda like the seconds that tick away in time. Your daddy's love is endless and always will provide the loving arms you need, always open while you breathe. Taking on the troubles ever since you were a seed. Up next was your birth, when daddy discovered worth. Mario, Elizabeth, and now upon the earth. You both made me shed some tears I never felt in all my years. Daddy takes a bow because he's finally got a purpose here. Everything you need and watching you as you grow, giving you my all until it's time to let you go. As hard as it will be, it's all that I wanna see. Both of you succeed so your daddy can believe that when he left your mommy and it brought him to his knees, the fighting and lying could never ever set you free. Daddy's always here to come and wipe away your tears, hoping that I hold the key to shield you from your fears. Nothing in this life is always as it appears, and even when you're gone, your daddy is is always near. Daddy's always here to come and wipe away your tears, hoping that I'll hold the key to shield you from your fears. Nothing in this life is always as it appears, and even when you're gone, your daddy is always near. 2 years since I walked out the broken family door. All the pain you felt will be turned to something more. Daddy's got you feeling first and wants you to explore. Live and laugh and love like you're adored. Even though I know we got a long way to go, I'll raise you by myself until I'm sleeping down below. Nothing will become between the loving that you show. Like a princess met a princess, our relationship betrothed. I've read you many stories and I tuck you in at night. At times we even sleep together while you grip me tight. We wake the next morning and then I watch you fight, and then you hit me with conclusion clearly showing spite.
Daddy, he hit.
Baby, it'll be alright.
Daddy, he hit me back.
Well, buddy, you were teasing right. If only you knew. As siblings, your rival grew and turns into a bond that no one breaks unless it's you. And Daddy's gonna be there to ensure you see it through, especially considering right now it's me and you. I love the little simple things that happen in a day, right down to the innocence within the games we play. 1, 2, 3, 4, hide and seek behind the door. 5, 6, 7, 8, tickle time. Now I got you laughing and I hate it when you cry. Then you like to mix it up and hit me with a
Why?
Daddy doesn't always have to answer, but he'll try to give you what you're looking for whenever I reply. It's like the bald eagle when it's learning how to fly, and it's living so free as it's soaring through the sky. As the years pass and we're seeing eye to eye, Daddy's gonna love you even after when he died. So keep me close and you will stand tall. I'm forever giving you my all. Daddy's always here to come and wipe away your tears, hoping that I'll hold the key to shield you from your fears. Nothing in this life is always as it appears, and even when you're gone, your daddy is always near. Daddy's always here to come and wipe away your tears, hoping that I'll hold the key to shield you from your fears. Nothing in this life is always as it appears, and even when you're gone, your daddy is always near. Fighting constant sickness ever since you went away. At times it's even tough to wanna wake up for the day. Dreaming bringing misery and living's really lame. Your mommy likes to play with you like pieces in the game. I remember how we talked as if it was just a day, and now I get the shivers in the words you hear me say. Choked up by the fact your mommy could care less, and the pain you're clearly hiding is unnecessary stress. Being so cold is something she has finessed, perfected and conditioned like a hunting lioness. The problem with the prey is it didn't run away, and it took a big chunk out of the battlefield she laid. Take a good look as she slowly runs away, and maybe now your feelings won't be something that she plays. Daddy wants the best and I prove it when I pray, and I'm sorry that your mommy ever let you be betrayed. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo.
Let me be the one to tell you that the struggle ain't real. Make you feel what I feel. Dear mama, I've already said my final goodbyes twice in this life, but I still get to thank God that you're alive. I'ma give you all some time to realize for a second while I wipe these tears from my eyes. MC Intimidator, let's ride. Been lost for a minute, so was dead and gone. Took some living to revisit all my rights and wrongs. If only for a second I could shake them off and remember how to take it with a grain of salt. We all forget it's so easy to pretend that the essence of the innocence is like when we were kids. Back then, enemies are present with friends, but in the past, kissing ass don't have you smelling like shit. Take a whiff of this hit and let the tone inflect. To my mortals to 100 to the dying breath. Keep living life with no regrets, or regret you lived it all eternally. It sets like a stone disposed, tossed out to the road. The sign says closed like the rock you roll. With my rhyme that flows, make you hot then cold. Immortal thoughts unfroze, got you chilled to the bone. Heard you got a feeling that the struggle is real, but you ain't real unless you struggle. Don't give a fuck how you feel. The pain's the same when you're out there playing in the rain, but the thunder rolls in cause it ain't a fucking game. Heard you got a feeling that the struggle is real, but you ain't real unless you struggle. Don't give a fuck how you feel. The pain's the same when you're out there playing in the rain, but the thunder rolls in cause it ain't a fucking game. Come sit by the river while I spit and chill. Even ripples will reflect why the struggle ain't real, while I paint the mental picture you can take on film. On the big screen is the scene you see me getting killed. Don't fuck with my family, try to hurt my kids, cause if you do it's me and you, and only one of us will live. Got a girl or a bitch, it don't matter who she is. Cross that line and I'm getting my revenge. Look at that circle that you're sitting in. Are they more than friends? Would you die for them? Would they die for you? Or would they hide the truth? Better tighten up, dog, you gotta screw this coming loose. Can't afford the fakes, I know they love to hate. This world is filled with plague, I got enough on my slate. If I'm sick of your ways, I better turn the page, or I'ma beat the fucking brakes off your pretty little face. Heard you got a feeling that the struggle is real, but you ain't real unless you struggle, don't give a fuck how you feel. The pain's the same when you're out there playing in the rain, but the thunder rolls in, cause it ain't a fucking game. Heard you got a feeling that the struggle is real, but you ain't real unless you struggle, don't give a fuck how you feel. The pain's the same when you're out there playing in the rain, but the thunder rolls in, cause it ain't a fucking game. Take me by storm, you can kiss my ass. Been jumped by your gangs, just watch me laugh. Deep down you're a bitch, that's why you running in packs. MC Intimidate, about to handle that. You act real tough and your bark is loud, but when your bro's going home is when your pussy will growl. In the back of your throat I hear the cats meow. Catnips on my dick, suck it while you break down. What does it mean in the grand scheme of things? Maybe it's the reason that you never took the lead. Workforce got you thinking that you need a team. Me, myself, and I is all that you could be. Baby mama drama trying to drain you clean. Attorneys running with your money, fuck you good for free. Dear God, I repent and say hail to the king. If the struggle is real, you should kneel, bitch, please.
It's a little bit of a heartfelt one here, y'all. Cause everything I ever wanted turned out to be nothing I ever needed. I guess you should have seen the crooked ways making you conceited. Why you think I left? I got tired of the life that you had been leading. Take you back to high school when we were young and acting fools. Man, I wish that they would teach us love and have so many rules. Break 'em every chance you get, broken heart that you regret. 16 candles and they learn a damn thing. Yeah, you tell them that you love them and there's no one else above. How could you be so certain when a week ago you're dreaming of Kristen, Sandra, Tanya, Rebecca, Keisha, Felicia, how about Samantha? So many names and you ladies play the same. If we only knew the consequences wrapped up in the game. Emotions getting crushed and you're always in a rush. Should've listened to your mama when she told you it was lust. I wish I would've listened, but I think about the kissing that. Maybe take a look inside and see that something's missing. Even though I love my homies, life at time was kinda lonely. Grew up real quick for a lady who would show me how to be a real man. Nervous when she takes your hand. Got a job, oh my God, do you think you understand? Tell you that I thought I knew, praying barely got me through. But I'm thankful that I had the chance to get to know you. Broken down inside of things, definitely with the ring. She's the queen on your team, getting ready for the sting. Baby, you were everything I thought I ever wanted, and you showed me how it feels to be a man that's disappointed. But you barely were a woman, and I know that I don't want it, so I made a little label with a table for the homies. Baby, you were everything I thought I ever wanted, and you showed me how it feels to be a man that's disappointed. But you barely were a woman, and I know that I don't want it, so I made a little label with a table for the homies. Pain from the bite doesn't set it overnight, and we're gonna take some time for elaboration of the right. You and I were living good, memories up in the hood. Drive around the world, but we were living life the way we should. Key West, Cozumel, even over in Belize. Lady, I was loving you and everything you did to me. Phone calls every day, baby girl, we love to play. Nothing ever came between us, laying in the bed we made. Dirty sounds that never stop.
Ooh, baby, got me hot.
Sucking on each other like a lollipop. Then we laid out on the bed, locked on every word it said. I was you and you were me, running around each other's head. Everything I ever wanted and you never had to phone it. Teasing you was special when we wake up in the early morning. Hair messed up and we don't give a fuck. But I know the substance is the reasons that we really stuck. Trapped in a place that you just cannot erase. Could you be kinda rewind so I could run another race? Then again, I never know the pain that dealt a deadly blow to the feeling that was healing and was turning to a show. Friends and family hate to watch, draw attention to the block. Guess we should've learned to crawl before we ever tried to walk. Now we got a fucking mess. I'm the worst, you're the best. Either way you wanna spray and bring your bulletproof vest. It's about to get ugly, how when it was kinda lovely. Fuck the question, I ain't stressing, and I know you're dreaming of me, good or bad. Doesn't matter, turn it to the map. Had to wait until the next verse, then the blood would truly splatter. Baby, you were everything I thought I ever wanted, and you showed me how it feels to be a man that's disappointed. But you barely were a woman, and I know that I don't want it, so I made a little label with a table for the homies. Baby, you were everything I thought I ever wanted, and you showed me how it feels to be a man that's disappointed. But you barely were a woman, and I know that I don't want it, a line you used to say to me. Walked through the door and we lived it like a family. Now I dread the thought of conversations that I caught from a woman who was lying like a sail that's going hot. Pills for your body even though you know it's naughty. How the hell you gonna tell me that you're not the one who's grimy? Stripping to your toes.
I ain't like that motherhood.
Bet you probably love the times you were taking off your clothes. Dirty little slut, you probably took it in the butt. While the kids in our home waiting for you full of nut. Straight to the shower, bitch, it's been a fucking hour.
I'll be out in a minute.
Found it in the bathroom, Lord, she's living on the moon. Almost caught another charge, sleeping in the bedroom. Wrap my hands around your throat, listen to the lovely notes. Bitch, you choking, yeah, I'm joking. Now my thoughts are always smoking, like the pipe that made me leave. Crack me up and made me bleed. Lucky that the dick you sucking never brought us home disease. Then I would've really flipped, see my angel's whiskey clip. Cause her mama loved the drama and was losing sight of shit. Little boy, baby girl, you're always running in my world. Sorry that we couldn't come to terms before a pearl. She had to put you in the middle, brain activity is little. Everything we ever knew is crashing like a cymbal. Now I'm on my way back and baby girl, it is a fact. Stop, man, bring it back again. Baby, you were everything I thought I ever wanted, and you showed me how it feels to be as man as disappointed. But you barely were a woman, and I know that I don't want it, so I made a little label with a table for the homies. Baby, you were everything I thought I ever wanted, and you showed me how it feels to be as man as disappointed. But you barely were a woman, and I know that I don't want it, so I made a little label with a table for the homies.
Please leave a message after the tone.
I'm really sorry. You have no idea. So many people do bad things. I didn't mean to.
For this food, and for our family, as well as friends, may all your children live long, until the end. Divine love always has met, and always will meet every human need. Amen.
Amen. And we do this daily as a family, not for corruption, not for money.